Someone put a 27 billion parameter writer on a used gaming card and clocked it at 672 tokens a second. Your agency's markup is the story. The card costs $700. The bill it replaces starts at $580 a day at retail. So the card pays for itself in 29 hours of flat-out use. Not weeks, not a quarter, hours. Qwen3.8-27B is an open weight model from Alibaba. 27 billion parameters, permissive commercial license, and it runs on one used RTX 3090 you can find on eBay for around $700. A Reddit user in the local LAM sub measured it at 82 tokens per second on a single request, under batched load up to 672. Every other number in this video comes back to those two. Here is what I am going to hand you in the next 6 minutes. What just got cheap? Which of your bills die first? Which jobs still belong on Claude and GPT-5? And a 30-day plan to test one workload without touching production. The receipt first. A single 3090 running full tilt at 672 tokens a second produces about 58 million tokens in a day. Call it 1.7 billion tokens a month. If you are paying GPT-4o retail for those same output tokens, $580 a day. Claude Sonnet, $871 a day. Claude Opus, $4,355. Electricity on a 3090 pulling 350 watts is $1 a day. 1. So the headline answer to the question you clicked for, your OpenAI bill just became optional. Not for every job, for the volume jobs. And the volume jobs are most of what your business actually spends money on. Back to the demo. $700 of used silicon, $1 of power a day, 1.7 billion tokens a month of writer output. I asked Claude Opus to write the cold open for this exact video. 88 output tokens, perfectly serviceable. A 3090 running Qwen would have produced the same sentence in roughly a tenth of a second, and it would not have shown up on any invoice at all. Now the honest part. 672 tokens per second is the batch number. If you are one owner generating one blog post at a time, you see 82, not 672, still faster than most humans read. But do not model your business on the batched figure unless you actually have concurrent traffic. Second honest thing, Claude Opus and GPT-5 still win on hard reasoning, complicated tool calling, and long context recall. If your business runs on an AI that has to read a 50-page contract, hold 10 tools in its head, and reason across all of it, keep that job on the API. Do not migrate your best moneymaker to save $400 a month. What to move first? Content writing. Blog posts, product descriptions, ad copy, meta descriptions, customer support triage, first draft replies, ticket classification, sentiment tags, internal chat over your own documents, all of it moves. Every one of these jobs is a place your API bill leaks $100 a week and nobody notices until quarter end. What stays on the API? Sales calls being turned into structured CRM entries, anything using function calling across 5+ tools, the one workflow where a wrong answer cost you a client. The real all-in cost, because nobody sells this to you honestly. $700 for the card, $30 for a month of electricity if you run it hard, $0 for the software, Ollama, and VLLM are both free. The line item nobody tells you about is the person who keeps the box running when the model updates, or a driver breaks. Budget 2 hours of a freelancer's time a month, call it $200. All in month 1 is around $930, month 2 is around $230. Compare that to the retainer your agency charges you to run the same API calls with a 3 to 10 times markup on top. None of that gets written down in the SaaS wrapper agency world. 30-day play. Week 1, buy the card and put it in a spare tower. Or rent a 3090 on RunPod for $1 an hour while you test. Week 2, install Ollama. Pull Qwen3.8-27B .1 workload at it. Pick the smallest one, meta descriptions, blog outlines. First draft support replies. Week 3, run it in parallel with your existing API stack. Same prompts, both outputs, compare side by side. Week 4, cut over the workload where the Qwen answer is genuinely fine and keep the rest. You will save more in month 2 than the whole experiment cost. Then you scale from there. Second workload in month 3, third in month 4. Meanwhile, the card runs whether you use it or not, so every additional job you move onto it is pure margin. Now the skepticism, I hear you, the Reddit post is the whole claim. The body did not fetch cleanly when I pulled it, so open the thread yourself right now, it is linked in the description. Sort the comments by top, and look at what settings the poster ran to hit 672. Real proof lives in the thread, not in my sentence about it. I would rather you check it and come back with the right numbers than trust mine because I said them on camera confidently. One thing before I let you go, hit subscribe if you want the AI news translated to money instead of hype, and come into the Church of SEO Jesus. It is my free school community, link in the description. Inside sits the exact GPU-to-workload matrix I use to decide what stays on the API and what moves in-house, plus every prompt, checklist, and 30-day migration playbook from these videos. It is free, the link is right below the video. Copy the matrix and run this experiment in your own shop this week. The bigger picture. AI muscle used to belong to whichever company could afford a rack of H100s. A used gaming card and one open weight release closed the gap this week for anyone willing to spend a weekend on it. The window between the release and your competitors noticing is the window you move in. Measured in weeks, not years. Old way, you rented every token by the drop and watched the invoice climb every month. New way, you buy the reservoir once and drink from it. A flip like that has never applied to your business before. It applies now. One thing that surprised me digging into this, HeyGen renders and video generation are still going to cost you real money. Text is where the story broke this week. Text is also where most of your invoice already lives. Next on the channel, the exact benchmark I ran comparing Qwen3.8-27B against Claude Sonnet on real client copy. Watch that one next.